This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Firstly, Chair, allow me to rebut the point that has been stated by the opposition side of this House that states that traditional sectors like agriculture are going to die out because we are over-investing in the creative sector. But allow me to state that traditional sectors will not die out because we are going to enhance them after all. We enhance them because we shall be able to get innovative solutions that shall be able to solve problems that have not been solved by this side. The opposition side also comes and tells us that we changed, that their side changes due to change of preference. But we like also to state that creatives also change due to change of preference. For example, we have songs that had been released in the COVID-19, in the lockdown. You don't tell me that those songs are the ones still on trend today. That means we change in preference. We gave an example of how African tradition has come to the rise. That means we change in preference. Because what do we see by this? African tradition, as they stated, had been in backlog, but now we see that it has come to rise, so we also change in preference. I'd like to expand more on how the creative sectors are going to be able to get money. We are going to be able to get money because we are going to have improved production, hence we are going to increase the standards of living. After increasing the standards of living, we are going to have more taxation, hence we are going to get money to the government, and hence this money shall also be used to enhance the traditional sectors. Our side of the House, in this case, wants to address the persistent things that have been affecting the African countries. Some of these include poverty and debt burden, but these all are pricing. Yet we have investments that can be able to support. What do we want by this? We bring about diversification because our African countries are depending on only one sector or two. And that's why we state that we should improve and we should invest in the creative sector. Firstly, because we have sustainability. We are able to sustain the economy by improving the creative sector and enhancing the traditional sectors like agriculture and mining. We also bring up a point of increase in quality and quantity. We have things like value addition that are going to be brought about by tech. Value addition through what? We see that most African countries sell their goods at first trade level. For example, people in Uganda are mining gold through manual labor and selling it at first trade level. People like growing coffee and selling it at first trade level. But what do we see? If we invest in creatives, we're going to be able to come up with innovations that will enable us to get more innovation in order to add value to these goods.
Speaker.
Rejected. We're going to get more money in order to invest and in order to add value to these goods, hence gaining more money. We'd like also to state that it has been recorded that the creative sectors in Africa grow every year by 12.5%. This has been recorded because even at the fact that countries are not putting a lot of emphasis in the creative sector. By this fact that with a 12.5% increase every year, we are seeing increase in the creative sector. If government really comes and puts more emphasis on these sectors, what are we going to see? We are going to see more improvement, and we go back to the point. We are not going to leave alone the traditional sectors after investing in the creative sectors. We shall also get money and enhance what? Enhance the traditional sectors, hence diversifying our economy and solving the main problem in this motion. We also want to state that another argument that we have is increase in financial literacy. In most African countries, farmers, let's say at the local level, don't have enough financial literacy because they're being exploited, they don't know the current trends, but due to our side, we are going to have innovations like funds, like these farmers are going to be able to do research. They're going to do research on the current trends. They're going to know how coffee trades in outside countries, and they're going to be able to be getting financial literacy. What does this mean? This means that our farmers shall not be exploited, but actually they shall also get benefits, and this brings about good standards of living. I rest my case.
Resolved. I want to start with a disagreement that the proposition side said. They said that traditional sectors can't compete on a global scale. Exactly what do you mean by this? Countries like South Korea and Singapore have shown in their traditional economy, mainly in the agricultural sector, that they actually can compete on a global scale. I mean, they're now the main producers in Asia. And I also want to disagree with a point of preference, saying that with the traditional sectors, there is no choice of preference. But in the creative sectors, since there are many preferences, this causes an instability in the economy. This has been shown in many countries, because now when people start to dislike this actually even causes job instability in sectors like, let's say, technology. When now today they're saying they're web designers, but then someone who also studied cybersecurity can do the same thing, hence even taking up that job and actually removing that high job creation. So I want to begin this motion by first stating the motion itself. This House believes that creative sectors like films, music, and digital art should receive more government support at the expense of traditional sectors like agriculture. We, as an opposition, disagree and say that this House should this house should not receive more government support at the
POI.
expense of the traditional sectors. Denied. The traditional economy is a backbone of most African economies. Most African economies, the largest portion of the population is actually rural, and these rural areas are less developed. Now we, as the opposition, want to put a main point of, let's say, reasoning that we want to create more development and economic stability in Africa. The National Bureau of Statistics estimates about 68% of Ugandans working in a working population is employed under these traditional sectors. So now if the government gives more support to these creative sectors, where will these people go? What will they do now when they end up unemployed? Now, reasoning one, there's going to be more rural employment, which is actually going to create a more high allowed.
Okay, in my first speech, I tell you that the traditional sectors are dying out because they are facing problems. How do you people solve those problems?
How are we going to solve those problems? We're going to solve those problems through the government support. When the government supports us, we are going to improve. We're going to improve on focusing on more skilled labor, digital transformation, community projects which are going to improve on sectors like fishing. They're going to provide fishermen with better boats. So I go back to my point of rural employment, which is also creating high job creation. How is this doing so? When the government supports us more, we are going to improve on this sector. The rural population is already less developed, which means we're going to focus on areas like the youth. We're going to engage the youth more, which is going to improve on more rural livelihoods, hence development. It's also going to improve on, it's actually going to cause what they call urban-rural migration. We all know that in the urban areas, it's very populated, which means social service distribution is not good in the country. So when we focus on more rural employment, which is going to increase job creation, there's actually going to be urban-rural migration, which will improve on the population distribution within our country. Two, economic stability. Actually, this is through the balance of trade. Now, a point one of the proposition they said something about balance of trade, which we totally disagree with. The traditional sector is actually going to promote a better balance of trade in a way that they're going to be low imports. Why? Because when the government supports us more, there are going to be more businesses. Why? Because there's going to be a more business-friendly environment through the government support, and there's also going to be a better distribution of resources. As I said, urban-rural migration, hence better scarcity, spreading of like social services, which will better the people's lives, and also high exports, which will be brought because many people will be employed, and hence creating more and improving on the industries. Let's say for mining in like Karamoja, it has now developed Karamoja just by a little bit. Now, if the government supports it more, it will develop higher and at a faster rate. An example, in oil in Nigeria.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.